Hi everyone, welcome to Kat's Novel Adventures. Do you like having fun? According to the author Laura Vanderkam, committing to fun means the fun happens. In today's video, I'm going to share the fun I had while implementing rule number 7, take one night for you in the Tranquility by Tuesday challenge. The purpose of rule number 7, take one night for you, is basically for you to find some time, at least once a week, where you can take off from family and work commitments and just explore something for yourself that's worthwhile and fun. It could be a night or it could be during the day. It really doesn't matter when you decide to schedule it, as long as it's on a regular basis and it is something that is fun for you. I got this rule down pat. Actually, it's more of a habit now because I've been doing this for many, many years. In fact, back when I taught second grade at Holy Ghost School, I read a book by Cheryl Richardson called Take Time for Your Life. And in this book, one of the concepts is to take time for yourself. And she called it like a date night. And I remember when I first did it, all I asked my husband was for like a couple of hours on a Sunday evening so I could take like a bubble bath, I could use the time to read. It's just really funny how that has evolved because back then I had small children. My schedule is a little more flexible for me to actually have one evening a week to do something, or I could do something quarterly or perhaps even monthly. But the important thing is you just need to schedule it. Laura sent planning questions for rule number 7 on Friday, March 3rd. Here are my responses to those planning questions. Question number 1. Do you have any recurring fun for you commitments outside of work and family? Examples might include a book club, choir rehearsal, or a weekly golf game. The answer is yes. I have a weekly improv class that I take on Thursday nights from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And right now on Sundays, I meet with my sister for a book club chat on Zoom where we discuss a personal development book. And then once a month on a Tuesday evening around 7 p.m., I meet with my Chills, Thrills, and Kills book club that I run with my friend Kelsi over at Slime and Slashers. Question 2. If you don't already have a weekly fun for you commitment, what would you do with one night off or an equivalent amount of weekend time per week? I do have something scheduled, so this question really does not apply to me at this time. Question number 3. If you are not currently taking a night just for you, what would you need to do to make this happen? If you are currently doing this, how have you created the space? I have created the space because I treat my one night for me just like I would treat an appointment. I feel like if it's something that is worthwhile and worth doing, put it on your schedule. Question 4. What might prevent you from taking one night off? Well, at this point in my life, I really don't have too many conflicts that will come up. I don't have small children, and really, I can't think of anything else that would prevent me from doing it unless it is another family event as far as doing something fun, going on like a little or big adventure. For example, recently my husband had an opportunity to get us a free room at a hotel and we chose to go to Orange Beach. So when we left, we were leaving on a Thursday, which is normally the evening that I go to improv class. Well, I did skip my improv class so that he and I could go hang out at the beach and have a fun, big adventure. The final planning question is, how can you address these challenges? Thankfully, I have a supportive husband and 2 helpful children, And if something crops up that either one of them can handle, I usually let them handle it so that I don't have to miss my class. Unless it's a family event where we're all involved in going to something special, that's pretty much the only time I will miss. As far as my buddy read with my sister or my book club, if something comes up that I cannot attend, we will generally reschedule whatever we are discussing at the date that we originally chose. Reflection question time. Let's see how I did during this week with taking one night for me. Reflection question number 1. Did you take a few hours off from work and family responsibilities this week? What did you do with this time? I made one of the activities I normally do this week. I met with my sister on Sunday evening at 7 o'clock my time. She lives in Atlanta, so she's an hour ahead of me. And we discussed chapter 7 of the book, The Subtle Art of Not Caring. And we had a really great time. We usually chat about the chapter and kind of talk about how it relates to what's going on currently in our lives. And then we spend a few minutes talking about other things going on with each other. Currently, it's discussing our trip to Sicily that we will be going on together in September. Question 2. If you didn't take one night or another block of time just for you during the past week, do you have an idea of what you might do with the night off in upcoming weeks? Well, again, this question really doesn't apply to me because I have something that I plan weekly to do for me each week. Reflection question number 3. What effects did you see from taking a few hours for your interests? Well, for me, it's positive effects galore because meeting with my sister to discuss books that we have in common or things that we have in common really strengthens our relationship. I look forward to being able to meet with her once a week. And as I mentioned, sometimes we discuss our chapter and then we talk about other stuff and really getting to know what's going on with each other's lives. So it really is positive because family is important, relationships are important, and it just brings me lots of joy, and I really want to continue doing it. Whether we choose to read a book or we decide that the next time around we might want to watch a movie and discuss what we thought about a movie or a TV series. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that we're making the time to hang out, even though we have to do it virtually, and just spend time together. That's what's important. The next 3 questions are: what challenges did you face while trying to take some time for your interests? How did you address these challenges? Did you modify this strategy? I'm sure you've been wondering why I haven't mentioned my improv class that I generally take on Thursdays. Well, I wouldn't really say this is a challenge. It really was an exciting reason why I missed my improv class. It really turned out to be a big adventure because my son Andrew is a student at Southeastern University. He is studying art history, and he was selected to put 2 of his photography projects into the juried art exhibition in the Southeastern Louisiana University's art gallery. So what that basically means is he was chosen by a committee to have his photographs put in there, or his photography projects, and it was open at night. Thursday was open at night, so I wanted to be there. Not only that, I know a few other students that had their artwork accepted as well. So I was really excited not only to see his artwork, but also these other students' artwork as well. In fact, one of them is a former student of mine. I taught her when she was in the 8th grade. Her name is Rachel. Anyhow, I also invited Andrew's godparents, well, that's Shelly, who is my really great friend since the 3rd grade, and her husband Carrie, and also our friend Helen, who I've spoken about on this channel before. We all went, and afterwards we went to dinner. Andrew had an honors event scheduled after the exhibit, so he went his way, and then we went to eat at a new restaurant in Hammond called Shacks, and what I got was delicious. It really was an awesome reason to miss improv. Yes, did I miss going to my improv class? Of course, I love my Anubis improv family. However, this was a very special event, and I would not miss supporting Andrew in something that was so special to him. As far as how I would handle the challenges or modify it, it just means that when something like this comes up, you just have to make a decision. I totally think it's okay if you have to miss your weekly night for yourself in order to participate in something else that's just as meaningful. The point is, you're doing something meaningful, and this was just as worthwhile and fun as it was to go to improv class. I don't really consider it a challenge. I really loved going and seeing everything that was there at the gallery. That was really kind of fun. And guess what? I ended up with a second big adventure for the week. And the last reflection question is, how likely are you to continue taking one night for you? Well, that is obvious. Very likely, because I really do think it's important to have some time designated for yourself to do something that you really, really enjoy doing, that doesn't involve having responsibilities related to family or to work. It's just something strictly for you. Now it's time to check in on how I did with the other 6 rules. Rule number 1, did you observe a bedtime this week? And the answer is not really. I did not do very well with getting in bed by 10:30. So let's just look at what I did, and I'll explain what I did each night before getting into bed. So on Friday, I went to bed at 9:25 and read before bed. On Saturday night was my niece's wedding, so we got home a little later, and I had some chores to finish up before getting in bed, so I didn't actually go to sleep until 11:15. On Sunday, I read before bed and got in bed at 10 o'clock. On Monday, I was working on content, and then I had a software update crop up, and I wanted to wait for that to finish before going to sleep, so I climbed into bed at 10:40. Tuesday, I was working on chores, and then I took a shower and went straight to bed at 11:05. Wednesday, I was doing some chores, took a shower, and then went straight to bed at 11:20. And Thursday was my latest night getting in bed, and that is because I was editing my vlog that I wanted to get out when Barry and I took our little adventure to the beach, and I wanted to finish. So it was 11:50 when I got into bed that night. I'm really kind of thinking I may need to change possibly when I'm going to bed. I don't know, the jury's out on it right now. We still have 2 more weeks of doing this challenge, and that will be one of the rules that I will review to see if I need to make some adjustments to it. The good news is no mindless scrolling on social media before bed. And while I only read 2 of the nights before going to sleep, I was doing other things that were productive. It just didn't, it's not following the winding down routine that I really want to implement. So we shall see what happens with rule number 1. Rule number 2, planned on Friday. I did not plan on Friday. I planned on Sunday morning. I'm still planning, and the way I look at it, as long as I plan before Monday morning, I really am doing well. Rule number 3, move by 3 p.m. Well, for this one, I moved by 3 p.m. 3 days during the week, so I'm pretty excited about that. On Tuesday, I walked around the backyard for 12 minutes. On Wednesday, I walked around the backyard for 20 minutes. And on Thursday, after eating lunch, I walked around the backyard for 15 minutes. So I got my move in the way I was supposed to this week. Remember, I'm striving for 3 days out of the week. Rule number 4, did you do your chosen activity 3 times? Well, for this one, I made it. I did both of them. I'm so excited. I actually read my devotion 4 times this week. I read on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. As far as outside 23 and 23, I got 3 times in. On Saturday, Caitlin's wedding ceremony happened to be outside. So we were outside for a little bit before the reception, and it was beautiful weather. So I got my outside time that way. And then on Wednesday, I got outside time from 12:45 to 1:10. That was also a day that I was able to walk around for 20 minutes. And then Thursday, I ate lunch outside, and then I walked for the 15 minutes. And then for about 5 minutes or so, I just turned my face up to the sun and just took in the warmth. It was such a beautiful day. I just was appreciating how beautiful it was. And I couldn't help myself. I just was quiet, closed my eyes, and just soaked up the sun for about 5 minutes or so and really loved it. Rule number 5, create a backup slot. I went ahead and created 2 backup slots for the week, and that was Wednesday, which I ended up using for a little adventure, and then on Thursday, I actually filmed an extra video for the week. Rule number 6, 1 big adventure, 1 little adventure. I had 2 big adventures, 2 little adventures, and let's talk about the big adventures first. The first one was on Saturday. My niece Caitlin got married to Mark, and we went to their wedding, so that is what I considered my big adventure. It was a big family event, really enjoyed it. And then on Thursday evening, I went to Andrew's juried student exhibition at the SLU Art Gallery, and then went to eat dinner with my friends afterwards. So that was a really enjoyable evening as well. As far as my little adventures, I had 2 of them, and the first one was to get a pedicure on Saturday morning. I wanted to have my toes done because I had bought some new shoes, and they were open-toe shoes, and I ended up getting a pedicure. My husband Barry drives a truck, and sometimes he will drive as far as he can go, and sometimes he can make it to Hammond. He'll stay at a hotel, and then generally I'll go meet him and we'll go have dinner somewhere together. Well, we ended up going to eat at Chipotle, or Chipotle, however you pronounce it. I know I don't pronounce it well. But anyway, it was the first time I had ever eaten there. It was a quick little dinner. I consider that a little adventure because we tried something new. I mean, he's eaten there before, but I have never had the experience. But those were 4 adventures for the week, and 2 of them just happened to crop up because originally I didn't have dinner with my husband planned, and I also didn't have Andrew's art exhibit to attend either. It's really good if you can have some flexibility in your schedule so that when these little or big adventures crop up, you get to have them. Now let's check in with Liz and see how she did with rule number 7 as well as the other 6 rules. Here's what she had to say. Great! Although I make this a daily practice as opposed to a weekly one, between work, grad studies, and home care for my grandmother, I found myself running on empty a few months back. I decided to carve out 30 minutes to an hour just for me each day. And I find that works for me since taking an entire evening off almost feels like more work once I factor in all the logistics. I do things like participate in online book clubs, do yoga, work on my sticker collection, write letters, or just chat with friends. Now, she said she didn't think this was terribly exciting, but I think it's awesome because, in my opinion, anything that you do that you find fun or enjoyable is exciting, in my opinion. And she said it's something to look forward to in her daily routine. And I have to mention that Liz modified this rule to fit her schedule and fit her needs. As far as the other 6 rules, she said that she hit all the boxes finally. So for rule number 1, which was the bedtime rule, I'm asleep by 10 like clockwork unless I'm having pain issues. I actually think this and number 2 may be the easiest rules for me to accomplish each week. For her rule number 2, which is about planning, she says, I love my Friday planning. It's funny how a change to one part of a routine can trickle into another. I got really used to watching Poker Face with the fam, eating and then planning. Now that the show is on hiatus, it's like the entire routine fell apart and I had to actively psych myself up to do it, even though it's something I enjoy. She said the brain is wild. Oh, yes, it is. For rule number 3, which is to move by 3 p.m., she was able to walk every day. Now remember, this was one of her biggest challenges because of work and also because of weather. And she said since it was spring break, she was off from work. It was very easy to do, although the upcoming week is then going to become a challenge again. Rule number 4 was for her to do something 3 times in a week to make it a habit. She annotated research articles 4 times a week and read for at least 30 minutes before bed 5 times a week, which I think is awesome. Rule number 5, she struggles with the backup slot, but she did say that she still doesn't like this one, but she did have a backup slot for Thursday and Sunday. And then rule number 6, she had a big adventure and a little adventure. For her big adventure, she started water-based PT, and then her little adventure was lunch with Shannon at the new house, and she started planning Summer Thrift Store Challenge, which is awesome. Remember, your big adventures and little adventures are specifically tailored to you. So what might be a little or big adventure to me or to Liz might be totally different for you. A little adventure could be something like putting a puzzle together, because if it's something that you just ordinarily don't do, that is where the adventure comes in. So it's all depends on how you define adventure. Kudos to Liz for having an awesome week with all of the rules in our Tranquility by Tuesday challenge. Rule number 7 completed part 2 of the Tranquility by Tuesday book, which the section was titled Make Good Things Happen. Now we're getting into the last part, part 3 of the book, and that is to waste less time. The next rule is rule number 8, which is to batch the little things. Here are the planning questions for rule number 8, batch the little things. Question number 1, think back over the past 24 hours. What small tasks have made it on your daily to-do list? What about small tasks that you completed as soon as you thought of them, even if you were working on something else at the time? Question number 2, how much time in minutes do you estimate you spent on these tasks last week? Question number 3, when could you schedule a time at work each day or each week to tackle small work tasks and any personal tasks that have to happen during business hours? Question 4, when could you schedule a weekly chore window, perhaps on the weekend or in the evening, to tackle small personal tasks? Question 5, what might prevent you from batching the little tasks in your life? And question 6, how could you deal with these challenges? Thanks everyone for stopping by for another segment of my Tranquility by Tuesday challenge. I really do appreciate you stopping by. I only have 2 more weeks of the challenge and it will be complete. I'll see you here next week to share how I do with rule number 8, which is to batch the little things. In the meantime, stay amazing and be adventurous.